Hello, welcome back. This is Kristen from Life of Crafting, and I want to start another card video for the Sheetload of cards. This is a video or a card sketch that's done from the YouTube channel of Me Crafty Al. She does a sketch, and usually this one was for July of 2023. She usually does these sketches with very little or no scrap. This particular one has a little bit of scrap, and you could probably use it for the inside of the card. So this particular sketch is going to give us 12 cards when you cut them from two 12 by 12 inch papers. So this particular one, I like that the paper here is going to probably be more the focal point, which is what I want to use this paper for. And I want to see if I can cut so that this paper is going to be one of these other two. So let me go into the papers. These particular papers, I don't know why, I really have held on to them. I love them. I found them on a swap table at one of the crops I had gone to, and there's nothing indicative on it as to who the brand is. There's just nothing. And I've never seen, when I've looked at other people's cards and stuff, I've never even seen anything close to this. So unfortunately, I have no idea. I just have really liked this deer paper. And, you know, I like the blues in it, so it's a little bit of a different color. So what I had found also at times off the swap tables at these daily or weekend crops was there was this paper from close to my heart called Frosted. And I thought they gave... I'm not really sure. I think Frosted is the collection, and then I thought they gave each sheet a name, but I guess it doesn't. This particular one, I liked the blues with the snowflakes. It backs up to like a taupe color, so that didn't really go, but I think I can use this blue. I thought I could pull that in. There's a chevron on this one. I'm not real sure what I want to do, only if I have to will I want to pull this in. And the back of that goes to like a fishnet stocking pattern. And again, it's in like that taupe, what do they call them, that color? I guess it's their champagne. So I did not want to use the back sides of these. So if I can only use the fronts, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking, like I said, my preference is to do this first. So I'm going to do her card sketch. She calls for looks like a not really square, but a slight rectangle on the front. She's using a piece of the card, one of the pieces of DSP on the front with the sentiment. I'm going to see, I'm thinking I may pull in a sentiment, and I definitely want something to bring in. The deer has a wreath around its neck, so I'm looking, I know I have some dies of leaping deer, and I'm thinking I may be able to emulate that as a focal point in the front of the card. So I'm going to put something together and get back to you in a moment. I'm back, and this is my finished card. And for this, I am going to put together just a quick couple things on there. What I used was, for this sentiment, oh God, I have a piece of my hair in there. Excuse me. I used a Recollections Christmas script. I'll be honest, I don't know. It's one of these ones they sell there with the stamps and the dies in the same pack. And I named it Christmas script, so I don't really know what it was. Bought this probably about 2 to 3 years ago when they were doing a clearance out of this section during Christmas. That gives you an idea. Then I had used these two from Memory Box. I bought this, again, I don't remember what it was called. I'm calling it Leaping Deer. I've had that for a while, and it was nice that I could use it on this. And then this is called the Holly Double Arch. I really like this die. I've used it numerous times because with them being separated and not being one, like you can kind of adjust how small of a wreath by pushing them together. If this gives you an idea, you can make it smaller or you can do it larger and then just layer up different components in there. So I saw this a while back, and I liked how you can use this to make a determination on how big or small. Of course, I can't get these apart now. How big or small, because like I said, you can make these much smaller by really pushing these together and doing the same thing, overlaying and gluing them down. So that's, it may seem a little weird to have the dies in that section. I've also seen them where you can use them like this over top of something as like a swag type of thing, and you can put a bow. So there's a bunch of different ways you can use this die. I don't know if there is anything I can link to for it. I will. I've had both of these dies for quite some time. I want to say probably 4 or 5 years. So if I can find something, by all means, I will link it down below. But again, I'm using the Sheetload of cards from August of 23 from the YouTube channel of Call Me Crafty Al. And I went back and forth because I really wish I could have found something in the blue for this paper, but it was such a blue that it was almost gray. Yeah, it was, I really could not find a blue. I have Stampin' Up, Paper Tray Ink. I have all the Hobby Lobbies in on a ring, like samples of those. I could not find anything even close to this color. So I knew I wanted to use these card bases. They're a craft card base that I got in a kit from when like Hobby Lobby was clearancing out about 1.5 to 2 years ago. And there was just like 12 card bases in an envelope for like, they were like $1.24 or something. So I picked them up, and I knew I wanted to use these up just to get rid of them because I was going to get 12 cards made, and there was 12 in this. What I wound up doing was I cut, like I said, you can get all the cutting instructions over on the YouTube channel of Call Me Crafty Al. But what I wound up doing is, because I had the 2 sheets of this, I wound up just cutting enough to get the center in here for the 12 cards. So I still have like more than about half a sheet left. I never did get into the chevron. Like I said, I was only keeping it in the event that I could not find enough of this, or didn't have enough when I wound up using this to have as a backup. I do still have this, and I have one more small strip of this paper. So I'm not getting rid of it yet. I will probably come up with another card sketch to finish this off. So amazing. So far I'm into about 2 sheets of paper, and I have 12. Her sketch calls for making 12. So yeah, it's right on target. And like I said, there was enough left that I can still, I didn't do, her sketch calls for, I keep putting this aside and I keep coming back up. Her sketch called for putting like a strip of paper here, and I didn't care for it. So I think that's what's saving me also in having a sheet of this left for doing another future card. So I die cut everything. The thing I really wanted to save for putting together on camera was to get these lined up right. I think what was throwing me off is that the 3 sheets of paper are like different sizes, and how the bigger one's placed separately, like to the right. So I wound up finding it easier as I put one here. I still have stuff stuck to the table. This is not the cleanest of videos, you're going to say, because I just don't craft cleanly. Anyway, so I found that I put this one on next and made sure I kept my margins over here all correct. Then I could place this more easily. And this paper was one, has like a different look to the snowflakes. So some of them were more like what you would expect. Some of them was more of that like medallion. So I liked the more traditional looking. And the way this sentimental is going is going to be more on the top. So I just flipped it around to give me the snowflake I wanted down at the bottom. So that was how I found that placement to be. When I put this together, I used the pecan pie cardstock from Stampin' Up. Someone told me I just wanted to try it. And you know, I find it does a really nice job matching into different craft papers. And it's my first time using it, so I was really kind of happy. I did have to place the joy in that upper corner. You would think it should fit centered, but by the time I put the different deer on there, I didn't really have room to do it that way. And the sentiment isn't, it's that whole square, it's almost a square, it's really a rectangle, but it's almost a square, is shifted to the left for this sketch anyway. So I felt like by putting it in that top right corner, it wasn't going to look like really, really that weird. So once I put this down, like I said, the greens, I really kind of wanted to do something with the greens, because if you can see, the paper in there has a leaping deer with like a wreath of greens around its neck, and I was not going to even attempt to try to find something to put on here to do that with. And I think I put my greens back in this folder, so bear with me here. Nothing is going according to plan today. Yes, I put them back in here. Why I was showing that before. So let me make sure I got the 4 that actually match, and now they're going to be a big mess. So here we go. Yeah, they're just all a mess. This die, though, what I found was they do put a bunch of different berries in there of different sizes, which is, you know, nice. But I don't always want them. So when I lay these down, like I said, I'm going to just put the glue with the fine tip right down the center, because I want some of those leaves to kind of, you know, pop up. I was doing this to frame this square, basically. And like I said, you can cut as many of these and make it like really plush and layered, but I found that 4 kind of really did the job. And you can do like what I'm doing. I'm kind of leaving a little gap in there, because when I go back to do this one, I'm going to cover that up, and you really don't notice it. By the time I add all the other stuff in there, you don't even see it. So I'm trying to be quick about this. The other thing I was going to show you is I did the bow. I don't know where I got it. It almost seems like it's almost, I don't know if I would call it an upholstery. This is like a real polyester feeling spool. And I had this new when I just got this in. I just took the ribbon and went around my fingers a bunch of times. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even count, just till it kind of looks full enough. And then I pinched them in the center, and I made sure I have one string on this side and the other string is on this side, so that it'll have that bow look. And then I will cut this off and cut myself another one. And I'm just going to use my reverse tweezers in the center to hold that. And then I will knot this. And that's going to give me that really full, hold on a second, and I'll show it to you. It's going to give me a really full looking bow. And I didn't have to sit there and fool around with it, really. And of course, nothing goes according to the way it should. Sometimes you may have to play with where the knot falls. Like for me, when I finish this knot, you're going to see it's not really centered evenly. You can just move it down. And I like doing extra loops like this, because if I got to pull on one, you don't really notice it. So I think that looks about centered. So then I get my 4 little tails. So like this one here is really kind of short, so if I pull it and I lose one of my loops, it's really not going to matter. So I'm going to get all of them facing down, and Sometimes you have to just fiddle with it for a minute. But I want them all down here together. And then I'm going to throw that right on a glue dot so that I can kind of seal all that together. I'm actually going to stick a second one on there because I really want that to not come apart. And throw that down. And then you can kind of fluff some things up. If I wanted to, I can play with these loops. Because those ones were a little short. I will cut them off. And then I just put my deer in the section where I want him. No, I'm not going to keep you for that. I just got to peel the stuff off. And that would be it for those. Then I did have these, you get these on a sheet. I got one of these glue dots stuck to my finger. You can get these metallic looking pearls at Hobby Lobby. And I just went and randomly picked some of these berries to put them on. And then if it didn't work out as far as, because like I said, you're overlapping. So like, let's say I don't want this one that's here. I can just cut that off and you won't even notice it. So that's another reason why I like being able to keep layering these up, because if you cut them off and it's all one, sometimes when it's only that one layer, you notice. But when they're done like this, I feel like you don't. I am going to pick berries so that they're alternating, so I don't have like a bunch of big berries all in one section, or because I do have two sizes on here. Here's a big berry. I will put that in there just to give me a another one, because I do want some on the inside. But I will pick some of these smaller ones to put some of the smaller size on. And I'll just pick, you know, I don't have to do, like I said, every one of them. I'm probably putting maybe a dozen of these on a card at the most. It's just there for the accent and, again, to be the berries. And, you know, I didn't want the red because, to me, you know, there was no red in this card. And I do want some on the inside. So this was my card for the sheetload of cards for July of 2023. Here's that YouTube channel again. Call Me Crafty Al. I hope you're getting some inspiration. This is these sketches have been great because, like I said, I've had some of these papers and some of this stuff in my stash forever. Like I said, this I don't even know if you want to call it twine. It's more like, I said, like it's almost like an industrial thread. I have had in my stash. I don't even know where I got it from. I don't even know how long I've had it. I probably picked it up at something like a yard sale or something. And, you know, here it sits. And with these sketches, I've probably used a good half of it. So I am so happy to be able to do stuff like this and use it up. I will do a layer of the pecan pie DSP and a layer with, I went with more of like an ivory. I will put that on the inside, you know, and nothing wants to work today, so that you're not writing just right on craft paper. And these are on the thinner side. I want them kind of balanced out from the front to the back, because right now I got all this on the front. I will do, like I said, one of those, and I may do a sentiment. The ink I'm using is Catherine Puller's Icing on the Cake. A lot of the demonstrators have been using Catherine Puller inks, and I've kind of just bought some of the minis to give them a try. And I have to tell you, if you've used Stampin' Up! Inks, I've used Gina K. This is probably that next level. I really have to say, I'm not disparaging either one of those. The Stampin' Up!, I think everybody's always had an issue just trying to get them to open up. I mean, I am able to do the flip thing, but they're a pain. And I find that when I do the volume I do like this, that the Stampin' Up! Doesn't last as long. These little minis have been so juicy. I've been using them over and over on some of these big projects, and they've been great. So I highly recommend them as well. So having said even more than I did expect to get into, I hope you got some inspiration from this, and I'll catch you on the next one.